Good morning, my friends, and welcome to Coffee and Craft with John from ProCraps here on Casino Gaming TV. It's a new week. It's a new thing to talk about and all that. I got a new class starting at my work, so we have a lot of things are happening right now in the world. Who's here? We have hey, Chris is here from Texas Dice. Were you first today? By the way, it was great hanging out with Chris at the Craps for the Cure this year. Last year, I think I met Chris the first time at Craps for the Cure, but we only hung out for like a minute. This year we got to hang out quite a bit. It was actually really fun, and Kev Smith as well, right? It's just so good to see you guys live. So anyway, I'm already looking forward to next year. Can you believe that? So yeah, I am licking my wounds from the morning storm. The morning storm was an ass kicking today. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, but yeah, not good at all. Although I'm going to say not good, but I'm also going to say not bad at the same time, and I'm going to hedge my criticism just a little tiny bit. So. Arcades is here. Good morning. Welcome. You saw my old stream to my search for unicorn strategy. We never found a unicorn. There is no such thing as a unicorn. There's lots of ways to go after it. One of the better ways was what Skill and Luck did. Was his strategy, we call it the moon bow, which was close, but it takes so much money to hedge everything out. There's no perfect way to get out, right? The idea behind that unicorn was always like, how can I, quote unquote, guarantee that I'm out in a couple of rolls, right? The storm tries that, right? It's like, okay, for the first two rolls, you're either going to make $50, and you're going to be out, or you're going to make money on the don't, right? The way the storm is set up, though, the don't pass actually loses you money on the 4 or 10, which we saw that today. And it can also lose money after you're out, right? It's a unicorn in the effect of, if you can survive 2 rolls, you're going to be okay. And I actually like the storm with higher odds so that the 7 pays me. However, as you will find out here in a minute, the storm today has major problems in those first couple of rolls. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But yeah, there is no unicorn. We tried. There's the best thing you can do and that whole unicorn thing, by the way, led us down this road, which if you watch those shows kind of in sequence, it led us down this road of me talking about, do you play 1 number, 2 numbers, or a cross, right? Do you hedge bets? And this is where I went into this whole analysis of like, I did all these Windcraps things of like, should you be hedging your bets at all? Like, if I went out there and said, okay, $600 lay 9 and whatever on the don't pass, $300 on the don't pass, or $400, is it better to just let the $400 don't pass sit there and die versus hedging it with a 9, with a lay 9? And what you find out is that over time, and I mean over lots of time, you will lose the don't pass exactly the right number of times. You're going to lose on a 7 6 times out of 36 average. You're going to lose the $600 lay bet 4 times on average. At the end of the day, those numbers are the same. You're going to lose the same amount of money on each one of the bets, but the lay bets carry the vig. So that's the bleed. The bleed is the vig up top, but the bleed is not anything else but that. So it's better to not do it, right? If you say $25 don't with a $2 yo, right? So you win $30 or you lose $2 over the course of time, you're going to win exactly the right number of times, twice out of 36. You're going to lose that $2, whatever that is, 34 out of 36 times, and you're going to be upside down a few bucks. And over time, that bleed hurts. It's better to go naked. We learned that during the unicorn trials. We kept trying all these different things, and I'm like, you know what, guys? All this hedging, it ultimately is a bleed. Ultimately, it doesn't really help you. In the moment, it may save you, and you may be like, yeah, it saved me. Over time, all that crap does not work, and you're playing mind games, and I'm kind of done playing the mind games. So I'm all about no more hedging. Let the naked bets go, and we'll just see what happens, right? And I think that's, to me, although it hurts me sometimes in the moments that I'm playing, I know that over time, that's the right thing to do. And that's what we learned. The unicorn, if nothing else, was a great teaching moment for all of us. So Rowan Gomez, good morning to you. Joe, good morning to you. And I wrote to you on your show, and I made mention of you during Daily Paycheck. Everybody should take a moment and just send some good vibes Joe's way. Prayers up if you're praying type. Prayers for Joe and his girlfriend. I know they're going through some rough stuff right now. And Joe let it be known this morning. She had an episode with her diabetes where the sugar got super high and for multiple days. And that causes all sorts of side effects, right? You have brain swelling and fluid on the brain and all these things, and she's got temporary blindness right now. So, I mean, it's a rough deal at your house, Joe, and I feel for you guys. I really, really do. I know how rough it is on you and on her, and the fear for her has got to be real. I know people who've had that, and that shunt that drains the fluid really does a lot of good. It helps a lot. So let's just hope that we get the sugar under control. Let's hope that shunt comes in and does its thing. And again, my prayers for your family that you guys weather the storm here, so to speak, and have whenever that surgery happens, let us know. We'll be obviously throwing prayers your way. But yeah, Joe's a good guy. He does a lot for this community, and I don't like to see him suffer. I don't like when I mean, Joe was visibly upset this morning on his show, and I feel for you, man. I really do. We're all getting to the age where we have health. I've had major health issues in my life, y'all. I'm not going to repeat the story. Waylon's had some major health issues. His dad has. We've all had it, and we're all getting up there. And it's like those little things matter, right? The sugar counts matter. The blood pressure matters. All that shit matters. So everybody just keep it real and keep it in front of you. Our friend JR, we know, is having some things too. So it's tough going, man. It's just tough going. So prayers to you, Joe. I love you, and I hope that your family comes through this. I see all the praying emojis in the chat, which is great. So just keep your faith. Keep your faith, everybody. All right. Yeah, getting old is bullshit. I agree with you. It sucks, man. It's like every time I wake up, something else hurts. Well, here's something a little personal, little TMI before I start the show. I have diabetes too, and I'm taking Ozempic now, which is good. It's really done wonders for leveling my sugar out, which is great. It's a kind of a wonder drug. However, since being on it, and I guess this is probably ultimately a good thing, I've lost like now almost 30 pounds. I went from being 195, 200 pounds, which is I hate to say it's my dream weight, but I've been 195, God, since I was 35 years old, right? And I worked out my whole life, and I used to be pretty muscular, whatever. Now I'm at like 169. I just crossed below 170 this weekend, and I'm like shrinking and all that stuff. And it's kind of good for you. But what I notice now is like without the extra weight, I'm feeling more things wrong. Like my joints are hurting more. Like I'm feeling all this weird shit going on, and like my knees touch when I lay down. It's like everything's wrong. Like it's just weird being skinny. Like there's this different, like, I guess, problems with that. But it's probably my ideal weight. It's probably what I should be at anyway. But yeah, it's kind of a bummer getting old and having new things hurt all the time. So I agree with you. Getting old is some bullshit. If I didn't wake up in pain, I would think I was dead. There you go. It's kind of like life's way of telling you that you're still alive, right? I guess that's what it is. Anyway, let's get to the show here. Let's talk about some stuff. I want to get into the storm a little bit and where we are today. And I want to talk about situational play, which came up in Craps Chat. One of the best Craps Chats we ever had last night, by the way. Really good discussion about situational play. And that brought up a comment from one of our good friends of the show, JB, Myopia Movie, chimed in the chat, or in the show comments, I guess, from last night with a kind of a snarky word for me about that. But I want to talk about it because I think it's important. I think when we get triggered by things, me or audience members, there's always something to that, and I think we should lean in whenever we can. So let's look at the storm and see where we are. We're 0-1. We started out with a loss, and we're minus 261, so we have work to do. Where the strategy falls south as a normal 6-7-8 play. Let's try and frame this right. Last month, I played the Iron Cross, the Red Cross, which is basically the same as the Storm, right? The Red Cross is, higher bets on the 5, 6, and 8, decent sized field, and we're playing aggressively in the box. We have a minimal don't pass bet, and we kind of hop back and forth, and we're pressing the wins and all that kind of stuff on the don't pass. That thing won and lost because of the line play. Every time it lost, the line got brutalized. But it also won a few times because the line parlays worked. That don't pass was never so big that it would be the reason for the loss on its own, right? It would get beat successive times and bleed us out is what happened on that thing. Sometimes the Baccarat ladder hurt us too much, but that strategy worked because the up top plays were always kind of active and it was working well. This one, the problem is when you come out of the gate with your 204 across and the don't pass plus the massive odds, That's the part that's been crushing us. The massive odds have been brutalizing us, and we're just not catching the right. Surprisingly hard to get 2 rolls up top before a 7 most of the time. That's why that don't pass is there. We have found it surprisingly hard to get 2 non-7s. Like, I'm hitting the point. Today, I think we had 3 don't pass wins in total. I had 4 or 5, maybe 6 points get hit in the middle of all that where I lost my don't pass. I lost it 3 times with massive odds, which is hurtful, right? 50 flat, 180 odds, all goes away 3 times. I lost it 2 or 3 times with just the flat bet where we had gotten out, we're playing across, and I'd lost the flat bet. I think 3 times I won it with just a flat bet. I never won it with the odds on it. So today was one of those days where we just were on opposite. I hit the small, went away from the tall, or the tall went away from the all, and I lost money on that hand. I actually lost $200 because I buckshotted the point twice in that hand. Lost the odds play twice in that hand. If you're on a good run, this strategy actually is worse for you than an iron cross. It's worse for you than even a regular dark strategy where I'm just going, kind of don't pass, a couple don't comes. This thing was killing us today. I had at one point set 5 or 6 points in a row and lost the don't pass on all of them and never got paid on the numbers, right? So I switched out of it. I switched out of a cross betting into a horseman style play because of that. And that's going to lead us into our situational awareness talk today. But this strategy, man, that big set of odds in the beginning is really, it caused me a ton of pain today. And I couldn't overcome it. That said, we got whacked on the don't 3 times with full odds. At least twice, maybe 3 times as a flat bet only. Only won it a couple of times. We still just lost the 261. Like, getting out of the hand with the $100, 5-6 times that we did, that ends up adding up and it covers up part of the loss. I'm starting to wonder if I don't need the odds, right? I'm starting to wonder if I don't need the odds, if I just play that don't pass like a don't pass player would, right? By doing more of a ladder / parlay down there, something like that more aggressively, and make the don't pass a separate play than the 204, and treating the 2 bets as separate entities. And instead of trying to make it be this giant hedge, that giant hedge is just a soul crusher. And today it just didn't work. And matter of fact, I lost on the storm every single day in practice last week, except for I think one day we won $200. I lost every single day, and every time I lost, it was because I buckshotted that damn point. It's just hard. So I'm disillusioned by it, Chris. I know it's you and Greg's baby, but I know you're saying hi to Mel, not me, but I'm saying hi to you. Brutal, man. I've had a rough time with this thing. So I don't know what to do with it. I'm still kind of torn, but it leads us into a good conversation about this, about our situational play. I'm a big fan of 3-phase play, and I know that some people aren't. JB Myopia Movie is not. Ed from Roll to Win is not. Not everybody is. This is the way that I've always played. And like I said, I've hit plenty of home runs in my life. I've missed out on plenty of home runs because of this style of play, and I'm fully willing to admit that. But it's kept me safe most of my life playing. And it's hard to get out of the mindset of this, which is give me a couple of rolls to get my money back off the table so I can be playing with quote unquote house money or playing with profits. That, I think, is the safest thing we can all do. I think most players who make money long-term do that. It's what happens after that where a lot of folks differ. Some people don't worry about the getting out of the hand. They just play it. They just go out there with their 120 inside or their 270 across or whatever it's going to be, and they just gas, foot to the gas, win or lose that spread every single time, okay? You'll never miss a home run by doing that, but you're going to get whacked more often. The getting out phase, I think, saves us and gives us a safe place to kind of jump from more often than not. Now, that's one part of it. The second part of it, the getting up piece, is where I want to get into today and the rest of the week is how do you best play once you're at that point, right? Because sitting there and burning after you get even is also soul crushing. It's almost as bad as getting beat. Like I found myself getting so frustrated at tables in the second phase of this thing. Third phase is fine, but the second phase is really, really hard to play. I think it's the hardest way. It's the hardest place to be in craps, right? And this idea last night came up about situational play, and somebody asked the question, I think it was Gargoyle, about situations. And you can look at that question in a couple of ways, right? And I think most people hear, how do you play in different situations? And they hear, and they're thinking, okay, the situation is, this morning's a good example. I had, what did I have? 6 sixes in a row at one point. I had 8 sixes in 7 throws, whatever it was, 8 sixes in 9 throws, whatever it was that was in, right? That huge cluster of sixes that I was in. The situation that I was in at the time, you could say it was a hot table. You could say it was hot sixes. What I would say is, at that moment, what I was feeling was I'm not getting paid on the come out points. Like I'm setting the point of 6, but not getting paid on it. Then it gets hit and I get paid a little bit. Puck is off, throw a 6, don't get paid. Now the point is 6, I hit the 6 a second time. Little tiny press and pull, right? 4 sixes, got paid twice, both times pretty small. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm missing out on the come out winners. When I'm in this cluster, I'm missing out on come out winners. What do I do to fix that? How do you mitigate that problem from happening, right? Well, you switch out of place bets into come bets. And come bets are automatically, the flats are working on the come out roll. And I could have worked my bets if I wanted to, but you go to a come betting system and you're automatically working and you're in a different rhythm. And come betting is great when you're buckshotting points and you're doing that sort of clustered maneuver. I switched out. Situationally, I said, you know what? I'm doing this right now. I'm going to go try and hopefully capitalize on what's happening, right? I said this last night. If you're chasing the rabbit or you're trying to catch a chicken, you'll never catch it. You're gonna die of a heart attack trying to catch a fucking chicken, right? That happened to me today, right? I saw what I was doing. I'm like, oh, let me go try and do that because that's what's happening. Died, right? You can't chase the chicken. You cannot chase the chicken and catch it. Only Rocky can do that. It's just not a thing. So when I talk situations with you, I'm not talking about I'm hitting a lot of sixes, bet the 6. I'm not talking about switching my whole life around based on cold hot table. I'm talking about the situation I would be in, as an example, is I just lost my big don't pass, right? I've only got one of my 2 required hits down. I'm in that situation where I still need one more box hit and I still have all the money out there and I never got it. Do I go back out with the same play, the big odds, chasing the one hit, or do I say I'm going to let the bets up there run naked for one roll and take my shot at it, right? That's the question that you're asking yourself. And I think situationally, you say to yourself, I know all these different ways to play. Where do I think my money's best served in this moment when I'm chasing a little bit of a loss or if I'm ahead a little bit? So that's where we are here. Situationally, pretend you've gotten out of the hand. Pretend you've got a little bit of money to play with. And now we're going to work on the, what do I do to lock some profit in my rack? Okay, let's go to the table. I'm going to switch back over here and I want to run through, actually, let me go back one screen. Before I do that, I want to run back and tell you what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about, in terms of looking at our rack in terms of shooter profit versus session profit. Both things are real, right? Your session profit goal might be $500, might be 40%, whatever your number is. On a shooter, if I say, okay, I'm here for 10 shooters, each shooter's got to win me a slice of that session profit. Where am I, right? Those short-term goals drive sort of how you play the game. I'm a very goal-oriented person. I don't just kind of slam it out there. So in that respect, I want to talk to you about this today. Same bet, right? Same old, same bet. Boring, right? Experts will tell you, same bettors die broke, right? Other experts will tell you same betting is the only way to win, right? Waylon's a big fan of this. Waylon is a big fan of same betting, right? And you can say it in chat. When you press, nothing ever comes home, right? When the 7 comes. If you're same betting, you're bringing money back every single time. And there's nothing wrong. I say it here, there's no shame ever in putting money in your rack. You may catch some side eye from the guys who want to press to the ceiling, right? Locking up profit isn't the same thing here as creating opportunity, but it's locking up profit. There's no shame in putting money in your rack. Now I want to go to the table. Let's put ourselves in a situation, okay? Let's do the storm, okay? In the storm, what happens is this. I'm going to show you what happens, okay? We're going to take our rack. And let's actually go down to, what do we have? 500, 900 is $1,000. $1,000 in the rack. We'll just go. Oh my God! Look at me go! Look at me go! My situation now is that I'm a disaster, right? $1,000 in the rack. And let's pretend. I'm gonna put all this back over here. Let's pretend that we played the storm, and that it worked. We played the storm, and it worked. And what you have in your rack, after it's all said and done, put the mid-mo chip back. Boy, I'm all messed up now, aren't I? You would have put your money out there. Let's put it all up here. And I'll show you one time how all this works. There is going to be 4 greens. Don't pass. This is going to go here. I'll take another one out. We'll get another 3 greens and some reds. Give me a minute here to get all this crap set up for us. All right. There's the 8. There's the 6. I'll do this one time today just so you can see what the numbers actually are. And there's our 180 in odds. All right, I think this is right. I think our bets out here are correct. I need to get the whites. I may have messed this up. We'll see where we should end up. So let's say we get our 2 hits. Let's say that we get our 2 hits. Okay, we get 50 for 1 on something. Doesn't matter what rolls. Okay, 50 for 1. Let's pull the 4 and 10 down. Like so. We bring back our $80. Let's say we get another one. It works out perfectly. Let's say the 8 hits, right? We get paid 50 for 1, 50 for 1, like so. And we can pull the 8 and the 6 down to $12. The 5 comes down, and I owe the bank a nickel for 4 whites. Okay. Now, where are we in the rack? If I pull all this back, I pulled everything that we pulled off the table back in the rack. We should be even if I did the math, if I did my bets right. 100, 200. There's 200. There is $295, okay? In my rack, that is my starting bankroll, minus $4, okay? Minus the $2 that we put out there for 50 for 1s, right? What we have is $50 here in the don't. We have $54 up here. We're even. We're out of the hand. We're out of the hand, and we're up $100. Everything on the table represents $100 in profit. So the question is, what do you do now? I'm going to set this up every day the same way. Essentially, I'm going to take all this junk out of my rack here, right? I'm going to set us up like this. We are even, okay? We're even in our rack. We have our $100 in profit. It looks like this. We have 50 in the rack and 50 out here. That's how this works every day. Where do we get to with this? When this play works out perfectly, where do we get to? We always get to here, $50 in profit, $50 in play. That's where we land every, I'm sorry, that shouldn't be here. $50 in play, $50 in profit. That's where we land. Every time the storm works out, you end up in the same spot. 50 in profit, 50 in play. Pull it all back, you're up $100. That's exactly where you should be with the storm. If you pull it all down, you're up $100. But we're not going to do that. We're going to say, let's play this out, okay? And I want you to take a look at your options this week from this position, where you've got the $50 that you can play with. All right. Actually, I'm still wrong. We have 50 in the rack plus the 50 out here. You pulled back the 50 plus the 50. So my bad. Pardon me. We're even, 50 and 50. What do you do at this point? What do you do at this point? This is your phase 2 play. The situation that you're in is your first phase worked. You locked up a tiny bit and you're playing with $54, or you're playing with $52. It doesn't matter what the point is at this point. What do? I want to show you the power of same betting, because same betting to lock up where you want to be for the day is important, right? At a $1,000 buy-in, right? I can look at this and say, well, we're halfway home, right? We're halfway to our session goal, but for sure we made money on the shooter, okay? I'm going to try and lock up right now my session goal. And the way that I can do that is by not being afraid to same bet the numbers. And I can same bet the numbers in two ways that I think are both pretty powerful. And let's show you both ways. I'm going to put the lammers in my rack like this. Okay, one for each number. One for each number. This is going to be the 4, the 5, the 6, the 8, the 9, the 10. Okay? And you can use chips or lammers, whatever you want to kind of track your move here. Okay? Again, 54 across. What I want to do is lock up this 54 bucks. I want to lock this in and have $100 in profit if I can do it, right? No guarantee that we do it, obviously, but let's just see what happens here. This is a 516. I'm going to do the 14 bucks. Okay? I'm actually going to put it right here in front. We'll track our money right here in the field and see how we did. There's an 8. That's our second one. That can pay $15 for one. There's a 4. That pays 18 bucks. We'll do 20 for 2 on that one. Now we same betted 3 times. There's 25, 35, 40 bucks back. Okay? We did it again. There's our $18. Right? Miracle. Right? We got 4 shots after the whatever, right? Where do we get? Right? There's our 50 bucks. If I take that and I say, you know what? We locked another 100 bucks. Now we have $100 in locked profit, right? Plus an extra $9 of FU money. This right here, now you're in FU money phase. Now you earned your way to phase 3. That's actually pretty cool, right? 3 or 4 hits, same betting to put money in your rack, locks you in, and now we're locked in completely, okay? You can use your lammers to note what numbers hit. In this case, you might just say, well, that was 1, 2, 3, and now I'm done same betting, and I can move on. I pulled 100 bucks into my rack, and I can move ahead and do something more, whatever you want to call it, aggressive or whatever else. That's a way to same bet. And again, there's no shame in pulling money back. It does take 3 hits to feel like your money's back in your rack, but now this money out here is not only paid for initially, but it's produced itself in profit, which is pretty cool. Again, no shame in pulling money back. That's a way to do this, right? Let's put all this back. We'll set ourselves up a second time here, okay? Still in the point of 9. This time, let's spread these out. Okay, there's our lammers representing the box numbers. And I don't know what we rolled last time. What were the numbers? It was 2 4s and something else, right? It was like a 6, a 5, and 2 4s. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It actually kind of does. Let's roll it again. There's no way we're gonna dodge a 7 this many times, but let's try it. There's a 6. Okay, 14 bucks. Okay, we're gonna same bet that number. There's $14, and I'm gonna mark the 4, the 5, the 6. I'm gonna move it to my rack. That one has been same betted, and now individually, the bets can move. Like pull the money off the table for the bet, then press the bet after that, if it happens to roll a second time. There's an 11, which we don't care about. There's the 7 out. So that kind of blows everything up. But so we lost 52, brought back $14. It was a free play, okay? In reality, we rolled like 6 numbers there, so we would have been in a different situation. Let's set ourselves back up again. Let's get a new point. 7. I don't care about the don't pass right now. Oh, same point. We're on to 9. All right, let's pull the don't pass money out of the way just to keep it clear from us. Although on that last shot, profit. But here we go. Let's reset everything. And let's say that we have done our work. The storm worked out. We got our 52 or 54 across. Let's same bet each number one by one. And again, I'll show you the power of this. If it works out for us, if I can avoid it for a minute, there's, again, a lot of juice. Another freaking 7. Boy, today's my day, isn't it? Today's my day. Trying to like do this with a random roll is really, really hard. Actually, I'm light here. I'm going to put the 9 out there. Let's do it again. Again, you got to see the numbers roll to make it make sense. So again, ignore the sevens. It doesn't matter at this point. I just want you to see the press rhythm. There's a midnight. Come on, dude. All right, there's an 8. So the 8 will pay the 14. Again, I'll put it out front, and I'll mark the 8 as having gone, right? Again, same bet, the number. Hopefully, oh God, come on, man. I'm gonna reset it all again. We'll keep doing it. Again, you gotta see the rhythm to make it make sense. I'm just gonna keep on ignoring sevens here. Again, we're assuming that the storm did its thing, right? This all is the assumption that we're playing as a 9. Not a 5, it was a 9 off the wall. We're assuming that we already got our 2 rolls and we're here, this is already free play. So the sevens don't bother me. I get mad, why? Because I worked really hard in the storm to get to 54 or 64 across. I worked really hard to get here. And then you catch that fast 7, you're like, well, God, that sucks, opportunity of 0, there's 18 bucks. Okay, and again, I'll mark the 10 as having been hit. Same bet, the number. We catch more of that number, we'll go. There's the 5. We'll do 15 for 1, and I'll mark the 5 as having been hit. Now we have 2 numbers that got same betted, and those 2 numbers can go. I would say to you this, either you do this until you get 4 of those, or just roll. Now the 10 hits again, right? It pays 18 bucks. We can do 20 for 2. At this point, you can half press and buy the 10. There's 25, okay? Once it got hit, all bets are off, right? Now you can just let that thing do what it's gonna do. As a matter of fact, I would probably just leave it up there, but it doesn't matter. Once it got hit once, that number is free to be pressed. Everything else is still in that same quote unquote same bet rhythm. Instead of saying, I'm gonna same bet until I'm even, I'm gonna same bet each number just once, and there's the 7. So in this exact situation, we free played $64, we pulled off 40 bucks out of it, right? So you end up losing quote unquote 24 bucks on that deal, but did you? You were free playing it, and your free play earned you that. Now, it could have earned you this if you just took the money and went home, but you're here for opportunity, right? So you're same betting for opportunity, and your opportunity netted you 40 bucks, right, instead of the 64. So you have $24 opportunity cost, but you still locked up 40 bucks, which is not bad in that situation. All right, let's do it again. We'll set up 64 across again. We catch a new point. There's the 4. And again, we can make the assumption here that we've, I just wanted to set a point. Make our assumption that we've got the $64 is out here as free play. This is earned play from the storm or some other thing that you did to get yourself up and out of the hand. You're out of the hand, you're playing 64, and again, we're gonna go 14 bucks. Same bet on the 8, but we're gonna mark the 8. There's a 9, 5-4, the hard 9. That's 15 for 1. And the 9 gets marked. So the 8 and the 9 are now eligible to just go to the house, right? There's a 6. We'll same bet the 6, 15 for 1. I'll mark the 6. And again, we're turning 64 bucks into, there's a 7. 64 bucks gets turned into 40. Feels like it's a loss, right? It's an opportunity cost in that case of 22 bucks. But I'm okay with that, right? Again, the storm, if you think about playing the storm and getting to this point in the game, right? We got our 2 hits, we paid for ourselves, twice in a row, we won 40 bucks. In the rack, that's $80 profit. Again, the 64 is 128. I get that. We could have pulled it down and had 128 in profit. However, you're taking an opportunity run at this thing. And again, same betting in that situation, we caught 3 hits. All 3 hits put money in the rack. If you were just pressing those things from the get, the fact that none of those numbers repeated should prove to you that you would have lost money, right? You would have had nothing coming back in that situation, right? So again, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to put money in your rack. There's no shame in same betting for a little bit while you're waiting it out. There's a 10. So our point's going to be a 10. Again, we're going to assume we've run the storm or something else, and we've gotten to 64 across, and we'll do it again. Same bet. Oh, there's a 7 out, right? So here's the frustrating part of this kind of play, right? Your phase 1 worked. You get to phase 2, and you get nothing out of it, but who cares because you already brought your money back, right? Remember, in the storm, you're left with this, right? So you get paid on that deal there, and back to your rack, you just locked up 50 bucks, right? If the 7 comes here, you're locking up $50 extra in profit. Nothing to be ashamed about there, okay? But again, we're just simulating what does it look like when you're playing already on that free play, house money, profit, whatever you want to call it, right? How do you attack it? And again, I think early what I like to do, points 5 now, I like to same bet for a minute. 14 bucks on the 5. There's a repeater 5, so it's marked the 5, okay? The 5 repeats, 15 for 1. It can look like $20 now. And the point goes off, and I pulled back. Again, locking up 18 bucks. Not a lot of money, but we're locking up something on the shooter. Come out 7. Let's play the rhythm here. There's a 3. Come on, let's get a point, can we? 7. Can I get a point, shooter? Do your thing here, man. Another 7. Wow. 4 7s and a 3. Nice job, Johnny. All right, there's a 9. Back out. Now again, the only thing that's hit so far is the 5. And it's hit twice, but that's all we've gotten is that 5 so far. There's a 6. So what happens on the 6? The 5 getting hit and being fine doesn't matter. The 6 now gets the same bet, 15 for 1. And now the 6 is eligible to be pressed. There's a 9, that's the point. And the same thing here, the 9, 15 for 1. The 9 is eligible. So I'm same betting the number before it goes anywhere. And that's my preferred secondary rhythm if I choose to be a same better, especially if I'm down, right? If I'm down in my rack, this is a good way to kind of just ease back in, right? Nice and simple, not a lot of thinking. A couple of same bets, a couple of tracks in your rack. There's an 11. We've only had all these rolls. We've had like 4 hits, right? There's an 8. Mark the 8. That'll be again 15 for 1. Now the 8 can get going. Check it out. There's this roll here. There's 50, 60 bucks. We actually have covered ourselves completely, right? In this situation, the same betting has resulted in us duplicating what's out there, which probably is session goal, which means you can continue same betting, or now you're like free to go, right? Or just stick with it, right? Stick with the program. There's your 7, doesn't matter. Anyway, but this is the time you can say, okay, I can run, I can go hard, I can pull this back, whatever. Look at what happened here, by the way. We had 2 hits on the 5 and then 1, 1, and 1. So you had basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 box hits. In all those rolls, only 5 box hits. If you would have just pressed out of the gate, here, here, and here, on the 8, the 9, and the 6, these would be at 24, 24, and 25, and you would have gotten $0 out of that hand, except for the $8 on the 5. Right, $0 would have came back to your rack if you just pressed out of the gate. No shame in same betting and putting money in your rack. That's my message today. I'm not always going to do that, right? I like doing that early on to get myself going. Yeah, if I'd been pressing those 5 hits, you would have made jack, right? That's exactly right, Waylon. Right, there's a time to press, and I think when I come back to here, there is a time to press. I think early on, same betting has some power to it, right? Putting money in your rack there's power in taking money from the house, right? Now, on a 50 roller, a same better is going to make so much less money than everybody else is, but there's a time when you can put the hammer down. I think the time to put the hammer down to me, let's go back a screen. The time for me to put a hammer down is in that phase 3. Once I've got my lock, like early on, get me even, maybe a little bit of profit, but I'm playing for free. Second phase, lock up my shooter and or session profit. Right there, I locked up session profit, right? The don't pass plus the $50, right? We locked up our session profit. At that point, the $52 that's out there, light that money on fire. Now you get to go off, right? But you gotta be safe early. Be safe early, lock it up early, and get on out of Dodge. That's my message. That's my message. So there we go. That's all of it for today. Let me check PCs. I really do have to leave though, because I have work in 5 minutes. I gotta get out of here. Yeah, I know. You say this all the time, and I'm not there with you. You saw the randomness today. I mean, the fourth, I still feel like the lazy way of doing it, going across and taking 2 hits and get out of there, it's the best way to guarantee something comes back. Now, if you want to take 2 hits from across and leave, good. Versus the 2 bets only, it's debatable what's the better way to do that, right? I can run simulations that prove both things are viable. I don't know. Me, it's time, right? You know me, I'm all about the time being the biggest problem for me. So there it is. Yeah, 1 unit presses also work. I think a 1 unit press after the same bet would be a great little ramp for most people. That's actually super powerful. Super powerful. Mark the Point says, get off the odds on the storm. I hear you there. Arcades, what's the best way to get to me? Discord. I know you sent me a Discord message, which I had not responded to. That's the best way to get to me. Discord or email, john@procraps.net. Also works well. I'm slow to respond. I have a lot going on. I got hectic home life, a hectic work life, so I'm not super great at getting back to you right away, but I will get back to you, I promise. I think that's it. That's it. My final thoughts here are for Joe and for his family. So again, prayers up, hands together for Joe, Joe and his girlfriend. Hope that everything works out. I'm just, like I said, more than anything else, support and all of that, right? The doctors will do what they do. The shunt is coming, the surgery is coming, but in the meantime, I know there's fear and there's anticipation and there's a lot of emotion going on. So my thoughts and prayers are with you guys, is to be strong and get through that. And that said, I will see you tomorrow for round 2 of the storm. Hopefully it goes better for me, and then we'll be back here. We'll look tomorrow at another way of playing after you're out of the hand. So same betting is one way. We're going to do a different system tomorrow. All week long, we're going to take different cracks at this thing and look at ways to get out or ways to make money once you're out of the hand and not worrying about the 7 anymore. So there it is, guys. I'll see you in a little bit. Bye.